Caddis Maximus here, this time with a review of the Wiha 410 Demagnetizer and Magnetizer. Primarily used for screwdrivers, but you can use these for all sorts of things, such as pliers, picks. They're actually pretty handy. There's the Klein style, which has some small holes, and then there's this style, which seems to be the most common, but Wiha advertises higher quality C8 magnets. And I like this style better because you have a much larger opening, so you can stick big old things like jaws of pliers in there, and all sorts of things. Really large slot head screwdrivers. This little unit works pretty well for magnetization. Obviously, if you need a super powerful magnet, you can always stick some little magnets to the top side of the screwdriver. But this thing's pretty handy. Some people swish it around, some people just go in and out. For me, it seems, I don't know, I kind of go on the left side of the demagnetized function, kind of rub it around a little bit, and you actually will get a significant amount of magnetism. I mean, I can pick up these picks, all sorts of stuff. Well, that's the hook, so it would pick up. But it actually works pretty well, and certainly would hold any kind of screws that you're trying to keep on the tip of the screwdriver, and that's really the big deal about these. And I don't own many Wiha. It's like a roller coaster ride. Wiha! Sorry about that. So I picked this up locally for $6. I was actually really surprised new. It was a pretty good price. They're all under $10, but some places go as high as like $9 on these. I do like the aqua color. Some people really don't, but these used to be black, and of course would get lost, so they actually decided to make them a much lighter color. And aqua does set itself apart, so I don't mind the colorization at all. So the deal with these is you can magnetize pretty easily, obviously, and we can pick up all sorts of stuff. A bigger issue is demagnetizing. A lot of people will get in there and they'll kind of swish it around, do the same thing that they did on the magnetization side, and it definitely reduces it, but we still have quite a bit of magnetism in there. Even if we make sure we get into the corner and draw it out, that does help quite a bit more, but we still have just a little bit of residual, maybe not enough. That's one of the big deals, is the demagnetization really works well when you go down as far into the corner, and then actually if you go more slowly and draw it out and even past it like that, you can really get it to demagnetize. What we have over here is it's actually not a piece of wire, that's a 0.7 millimeter hex key or Allen wrench. It's extremely small, but we can still see that it just isn't perfect. Even if we go in there and again, really slowly, really make sure we try to remove the magnetization, pulling it away, and that trick really does work. We still aren't perfect. I've always used things like magnetic tape erasers, but they're kind of weak to really demagnetize, and that's kind of the point of this whole video, is the magnetization actually works great, and the demagnetizer actually works really well. It removes almost all of it, but there may be some situations, particularly with like precision screwdrivers, where you're working with these tiny little fasteners and you still get them where you want. Sometimes you want them to stick and sometimes you don't. And what do you do in those situations? Here's my recommendation. Those little tape head demagnetizers are just little plug-in alternating current electromagnets, and they used to be used for audio cassette players because magnetism would build up in the head and would cause issues. There's also really big ones. This happens to be a high power VHS video cassette and any type of magnetic tape and disc eraser. This is a big 8.5 amp, 1 kilowatt version. And what I've noticed is if I use this and use that draw away technique, this thing is powerful. Do that, and then if I just slowly go away, and part of it is just the fact that this has such a huge magnetic field. I'm actually keeping it on the whole time here. There we go. Now look. There is not a lick of magnetism in this screwdriver now. Just not absolutely. I can't even just pick up the little end, nothing. And so that was the kind of the point, is that one, the Wiha actually does work really well, and the demagnetization portion, at least on these, also works quite nicely. You just make sure you get it in the corner and use a slow draw out technique. But it's also to show that the demagnetized, since it's just using a permanent magnet, is either impossible or next to impossible to get it something perfectly demagnetized, and you really do need a big electromagnet. These things can be found super cheap online for like Chinese ones. This happens to be a really old American-made, you know, Radio Shack had something American-made, but you can get these for 20 bucks, 30 bucks, and that's what I would, you know, they're often sold now as degaussers, and that would be the perfect way to actually totally demagnetize something. The other issue with these is sometimes it's not the screwdriver, it's the fasteners themselves that get magnetized, and that's obviously very difficult to use the pull away or pull through technique on one of these blocks. And of course a electromagnetic tape eraser would, you could just have these in your hands and easily be able to draw them away and demagnetize them. But I do like this little unit, and there's actually, if you look around online, there's even bigger versions. I don't know from Wiha, but from other companies, they make various sizes. And being able to occasionally magnetize a wrench or a small 1/4-inch socket could be real handy. Another reason I needed to pick this up was I complained about magnetization on screwdrivers that had come from, like, say, Harbor Freight, and really, I don't know if Harbor Freight actually sells one of these, and if they don't, it's kind of stupid of them, because this is a great way to deal with it, and I, you know, need to, you know, not eat my own words, but take my own advice and just get a magnetization tool so I can apply magnetization whenever I want it. And what is nice is the demagnetized portion does work pretty well. It easily removes 90% plus of the original magnetization that it puts on the tool, and for most situations it will be effectively demagnetized. It's only with like the real precision, super tiny stuff where even small amounts of magnetization still can become an issue, and that's what electromagnets are for. And I recommend big ones, because the bigger the better when it comes to these things. And I did finally get a P.O. box, so I've always been curious if you could, maybe I should find an old cell phone or something on eBay, but I'm pretty sure one of these would work pretty well at erasing a cell phone and bricking it. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody watching and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.